Welcome to the admin training video for Planet 4. Throughout this video, our colleague Luca will be guiding you through the following sections of the platform. You will notice on his screen an additional top black menu. This is the admin menu only available to login admin users. If you don't have an account yet, please request it to the Planet 4 team. If you already have an account, you can log into the platform by going to the URL of your domain followed by a /wp-admin. Through the training, Luca will be switching between the Planet 4 site and the handbook site for documentation references. The handbook is where we store all the documentation related to Planet 4. Thanks for joining and enjoy the training.
The first thing that we are going to cover is basically the three main pages that constitute the navigation of Planet 4, okay? Which is our home page first. So for this training, I'm going to use the development side, so which is the dev.p4 and so on. So whenever a user lands on a Greenpeace site or whichever it is on Planet 4, basically, the system has been designed to really make it as consumable as possible, and as you can see, as responsive as possible. So every page that I'm going to show you has different design that responds to the fits to every screen size. But long story short, these are, let's say, the main pages that basically are built up using blocks. Okay. Basically, what am I meaning when I say using blocks? Each of the pages that I'm going to show you are built using components that basically pull out custom code. Okay. For example, in the handbook at the page layouts and blocks, you can see how basically the design of each one of these more, let's say, more important pages. They are not the more important, but they are the main pages. Okay. For example, if we take our home page, it has different blocks that basically, using these specific orders, pull out content according to how we prefer people to have access to. Okay, so the first one is a block called carousel header, a two-column block, then there is a carousel, images, and then there is a series of articles. Okay, we are not going to go about explaining how to use every single block in this part, but I'm just going to explain you why it's important to build the homepage, act, and explore first together with because from these three main pages you will understand how navigation works and therefore build up your categories and tags, build up your settings, issues, and so on and so on. So now it looks very funky because we spent a bit of time. Our homepage looks quite okay because we spent a bit of time in selecting the right images. But when you will build your own page, it will basically look like this. You know, you're just gonna go into edit page. You're gonna have a home page preset up. We will see after how to put it in the settings. But basically, it's a blank page. You will have to add a series of blocks. Okay. So first of all, it's a default template page. Okay, home, act, and explore, they are all default template page. There is also an evergreen page, but these are have different functionalities. Let's say the content is not pulling out to the whole size of the screen. Is mostly these evergreen pages are mostly for static content, for example, such as like the copyrights or the our history page and so on. Not really pages that use the blocks at their full potential. So as you can see, our home page has basically a series of blocks happening one after the others. Yeah, and these are nothing more than these guys. Oh, sorry. These guys. The carousel is the first one, then there is a two-column block, then there is the carousel, then there is the articles. Okay, this is an order that we are recommending everyone to use in their home page. Yeah, because that's how best it fits responsive screen, how best it basically pulls out content you really want to push using the carousel header. that works like by swiping from one content to the other, also in mobile. And of course, you put the two main stories using the two-column block, and then you have the carousel and so on. Of course, since these are piece of components, you have absolutely the freedom to change the order of these components or put others if you want. This works for every single default template page. Okay, everything that I have to do is to pick an empty space, just add the space, and either add the media, so it could be a GIF, an image, a video, or add the page element. Blocks are page elements. Okay, so as I said, we are not going to go through different blocks at this moment, but you have a very wide choice of blocks that you can choose. You just have to know for the moment that home page should be one of the first things that you set up, or at least understand, together with act and explore. Now, before we start digging deep into the pages, I just want to make sure that these are the three main navigation items. You see, there is no about us, what we do, the old style Planet Tree navigation. Okay, most of the things that people see as of this stage are the home page. So whenever they click in Greenpeace, of course, the drop-down menu with the links to all our sites, but home page, act, and explore. Of course, donate. This brings you up to the donation page, but like, let's say, on-site navigation commands are home page, act, and explore. Yeah. Now, they have called this way, and they will be calling a different, obviously, language variation according to which kind of Planet 4 site is being built. But the reason why we built these two pages is not because we didn't know what to put in navigation. It's because these two pages has two different purposes. Okay, and from these purposes, a series of functionality derive. Okay, act has been built to make people do something now. Okay, take action from the site right away. Okay, this page, as we mentioned before, is a default template page, and of course is being built using blocks. You see, these blocks are in the order that the design team and the Planet 4 team believes drives more people to action, to get involved in a series of different ways. And even this design gives the NRO teams ideas on how to basically engage in a different ways all our audiences. Okay, so what people do and see in acts is different opportunities to do things with Greenpeace, get involved, or take initiatives right away. Okay, there is no images particularly, there is no specific links other than get involved or tags. We will see tags in a later stage. And if we go inside act, if you go in the edit mode of act, you will see that as the home page, act is being built using blocks. Okay. Now, the way we structure act, as you can see, you see them in a different ways. They are all the same block. They are called take action cards, but they are displayed in a different way. This is the way the GPI team decided to structure their act page. All these are campaign-related take actions, so actions that our supporters can do in relation to our campaigns. And these four, you see, they are the same block, but they are related to actions that people can do with Greenpeace as an organization. Okay, donate with us, get engaged with us. So, as you may see, the difference between these cards, they are built the same way, but the difference is the tags. Okay, this is why when you will shape your taxonomy, it's fairly important to have tags that are either related to the campaign priorities that you try to push, or organizational content. As we have seen, the homepage and Act page, which is basically two of the most important pages. Explore is the, let's say, the place where people go to learn more about our campaigns. Okay, so whereas Act is more an action-driven page, this is more an informational section of the page, and so it has been designed. Okay, so you will see that Explore is really being designed differently than Act, whereas Act is really all about getting people to do stuff, and the way also blocks are set up. You see, you don't see any context whatsoever. You see like a small introduction, take action, and the opportunity to do something about this topic. Okay, we will see. This is called a take action page. We will see it in a minute. But Explore is being designed in a different way. Okay, Explore puts a context within what we do as an organization. Okay, so what you see as Explore is, hey, why are we working? What will you do? What's the point? This is what we work for. Okay, justice for people and the planet. The second section, obviously built with blocks. So if you go in the handbook, page layouts and blocks, you will see how these blocks are inserted in the home page. These three blocks is a piece of content that has been designed to basically contrapose the bigger issue and what we are doing as an organization to tackle this issue. Okay, so Explore basically tells you what's the bigger problem, or what's the bigger objectives that we are trying to achieve. Okay, clean energy, sustainable development, people, clean air, plastic, whatever is your broader issue. Okay, we will go in issue in a second, but what's the broader matter? What's the broader topic, and how can you get involved? Okay, always counterposing what's the biggest perspective, the biggest change you are trying to achieve with what we can do as a people. Okay, this is also obviously fitting within the framework and the billion acts of courage. But you see, like within nature, there is a let's say a related topic called food. Okay, so Explore as a page is built by different types of blocks. So this is split. It's called split two columns block, and related articles and Happy Point. We will see Happy Point later on. Happy Point is basically a final call to action that is in all pages. Okay, so this is Explore, and very basically, if we go inside in the edit mode of Explore, you'll see that we basically find nothing else than blocks. We don't really find in on-page images and so on. We only find blocks that dynamically pull out content from different parts of the site. Okay, so homepage, Act, and Explore are built with blocks because they have to dynamically pull content from different parts of the site. Therefore, it's super important to attribute the right image to your issue pages or take action pages or tag pages. We will see them in a second. But long story short, the more accurate you build your pages, be them tag or take action pages, the more nicely they will be displayed using blocks. Okay, see, for example, we have our three split column blocks, which is these guys. We have our article block, this guy, and we have the Happy Point. The default template, the page template is still default, the one that maximizes the use of the block. And you will see Explore as no parent page. Okay, parent page is super important. We will go through it now, but I can guarantee you that as Explore, as Act, and as the home page, none of them they have parent pages. Okay, and there is a reason for that. It's a functionality reason. Okay, why? Because Planet 4 is a software built on top of WordPress. See, there is no parent. Here's where you can attribute parenting in the standard WordPress way. So this is explore, this is act. Basically blocks pull out dynamic content. Okay, so this is a block called take action cards. So, but basically I'm still inside the act. So if act from the outside looks like this, you see a bunch of cards that pulls out content, and people redirect people to what is called take action pages. We will see take action pages after. Okay, but basically if you go in the edit mode, you see this is a block called take action covers or take action cards. If you go in the edit mode, hitting the small pencil, basically what you see is that I am not selecting any image, or I'm not writing any content, I'm not doing much creative work. But what I'm doing is basically selecting tags, okay? All these tags will pull out dynamically content that we have associated with these tags. So they take action cards. Blocks are custom code that pulls out dynamic content from other parts of the site. That's what contents are. What blocks are in the end. It's fairly important that you understand how each one behaves, and there is a page in the handbook, like a hashtag called blocks, planetford.greenpeace.org/tag/blocks, and basically it explains you how each block behaves. Okay, in this block, page layouts and blocks, you will see how these blocks are placed in the main pages: home, act, and explore. So beside the homepage, act, and explore, users will be presented in whichever format they decide to consume our site. This is the responsive version. They will be presented obviously with an opportunity to get involved, which is called a happy point, is a block itself, and they will be presented with footer. Okay. This is like just standard design on responsive portals. But long story short, the footer contains all, let's say, evergreen content or institutional content that we really are not pushing proactively. This is not campaign content, okay? But it's obviously content that needs to be there because it encompasses what we are doing, what's our values, how you can get involved, what's the terms and condition, copyrights, and so on. Okay. Now, how are these determined? Okay, beside what is the actual content of the homepage, of Act and Explore, and why they are built this way, it's important to understand how navigation is built. Okay, navigation is header, so homepage, Act, Explore, Donate, of course, and footer. Okay. As in every WordPress page, you go, if you are logged in, you go into the admin dashboard, which looks like this way. You can put it red, green, rainbow, whichever color you prefer. But you will see that what will determine actually your navigation is two main settings. Is the Planet Force settings. Is the Planet Force settings and the general writing, reading, mostly. Yeah. You also may know that in Planet 4 you have appearance menus, which is also like the generic way of structuring, let's say, on-site navigations. You will see that the menu setting of the classic menu setting of Planet 4 basically only shows up what you have in the footer. What is important to understand now is the settings Planet 4, because that's where you actually really determine the navigation of the site. Some of you may have seen that in the Planet 4 settings there is no way to control the footer. Yeah. So this other page, set up the P4 content, basically explain you once you have determined, once you have told the system what is which one is acting, which one is explore, is now the time to go in appearance and menus to basically set up the navigation structure and the footer. Okay, and so is what we're going to do. So you go in appearance, menus. Okay, there is a few different. Here is where you can customize the footer, primary or secondary or social, which is in respective these guys. Social, primary, secondary, and here's where you can customize it. Appearance, menus. Obviously you can just switch the order if you want, just by dragging and drop, but long story short, these are, let's say, these appearance and menus standard commands of a WordPress site should be done after setting up the basic setting of Planet 4. Settings, Planet 4. You see that this is where you really determine the key setup of your site. Okay, it will ask you, of course, what's the main title of the website. That's the international site. This is related to the drop down, and they will immediately ask you what's your act page and what's your explore page. Please tell us what should be explore, what should be act. Now it's not asking you it's not asking you by a chance. The reason why the site has been developed this way is because the way you attribute which is act and which is explore generates a series of functionalities that are basically reflected in take action pages and issue pages and how they behave. So once you have set up your act, you have set up your explore, you should go in settings, Planet 4, and tell the system which is act, which is explore. Simple as that. There is a third command called select issues and parent category. Basically, this is only to determine a few functionalities. It should always be the parent category of what you determine being your issues and categories. We will talk about that in a second. Okay. Everything that I am explaining here is explained in the handbook, set up the P4 settings. Okay, I'm only explaining this. Oh, yeah, I recorded this in the handbook. It has a blue funky layout. But basically, this is what I am going through. Let's see. It will ask you a copyright text, okay, which is no more than this. It's great that with Planet 4, Greenpeace International decided to use the Creative Commons license, which is great. You may have different approaches in your office, really up to you. Copyright text, line 2. Tag manager identifier and engaging networks ID are related to the happy point and the analytics features. Basically, if you are familiar or not, tag manager, we only need this code, which is the tag manager container code, to basically associate all cross-domain tracking and Google Analytics connection. And the engaging networks ID, if you see, is just a form built in engaging networks that de facto generates these three fields. So the happy point is, long story short, no more than an iframe that basically is pulling out any engaging networks form. What you have to do is to create a form in engaging networks and connect it in the settings Planet 4. That's all you have to do. Now it depends. If you need to have like 4 fields in your form, you will add 4 fields in the form in engaging networks. Okay, so after connecting the engaging networks ID, we have the chance to get cookie text, because if I reopen the same site in another, basically we place a series of cookies in each Planet 4 site, and this is what I'm going to see. I'm going to see, of course, the canonic cookies text. That's the one we use cookies to enhance your experience and so on. It obviously, more info needs to be connected to your cookies page, okay, which is a classic example of an evergreen page. But long story short, you determine this text in the P4 settings, and then there are a series of custom fields that you can, of standard fields that you can customize if you want. So basically, what would be like the title of the articles block, what should be the read more button, what should say, you can say learn more or discover more or whatever is your language variation or whatever you prefer. And then just determine a series of settings along with, of course, the link to your donate page, whether it's in a different server, in a different page, and so on. You can also customize the 404 background page in here, background page and text. 404, for the people that are not familiar, is anything that appears when you break a link. So, and of course, you can also determine like what kind of is the default page type of post, okay, or whenever you create a new post. So, long story short, if this Planet 4 page that is called set up the P4 settings, explain you how to set up what we just discussed about this. Now that we have sort of starting to get along in our site, we understood what's the home page, we understood basically that these pages are pulling out content using blocks, okay, that they have no parenting, so is act and explore. They behave in different ways, but they are basically both built on the default template. You may have seen that if you have gone through the bit that talks about settings, that we have to tell them, we have to tell the systems in the Planet 4 settings what is act and what is explore. Okay, why? And we told them that assigning act and explore pages basically generates a series of functionalities built within the software. Okay? So act and explore pages are, let's say, two parent pages built for two different purposes: act to take action, explore to learn more. Along with these two parenting pages, there are what we call categories and tags that basically are used to organically navigate the site. Okay, for example, if you can see in this story, there is a tag called oceans. Okay, the whole point of this is to basically present content that is relevant to the user and make them switch to, or make them consume more content related to what they are looking for. Okay, the old style navigation that we have in Planet 3 is about us, what we do, our campaigns, and so on. The way people consume the internet has slightly changed. People arrive to a website through social media or different channels or an email or whatsoever. They don't necessarily enter your site and follow a specific path. So the point of creating categories and tags is really to, let's say, facilitate what we call organic navigations. For example, if I arrive on a piece of content that is a blog post via Twitter, let's say, I arrive, let's say, in this for Valentine's Day, and basically, if I arrive on this piece of content, I can see what kind, and this is a page type, what kind of content we are talking about, what this is about. So, what is our issues? Okay, that are attributed to categories. In this case, it's related to ships and nature, and tags. This is called breadcrumb navigation. It's not a specifically breadcrumb. Because breadcrumb normally say in the current site it says home, about us, what we do, oceans. No, you see over here you have pieces of topics that are related to each other in this context, but also on a broader perspective. Okay, for example, without going into like right details, I can just navigate through my content using it normal links and so on, but then to continue the experience, I'm presented with options either at the top or at the bottom or in the latest related articles, options that will bring me to content related to oceans in this case. Let's say I'm interested in Antarctic, I am very likely to be presented in oceans, interested in ocean topics as well. So as you can see, I'm landing on a page called tag. Okay, this is a page generated. Basically, this page doesn't contain much. Okay, it contains just a background image, a small introductory text, and just content related to this topic, aka tag. If I go in the edit mode of a tag, I don't see much. I just see a tag, a background image, and an introduction. So tag pages, they are not built with blocks, but they pull out content dynamically, based on how you create your pages and what kind of tags you assign to these pages. So the point of categories and tags is fundamental because they are semantically related to each other. Okay, if we go back to that famous post called for Valentine's Day, if you go in the edit post, our content editor created their piece of content, and then is a blog post, so it's a post, it's not a page, so it basically has a structure of the URL, but also this person assigned categories and tags. Okay, they feature the image and whatever kind of content they prefer to, but they have assigned categories and tags to basically, categorize what this is about. Now, categories and tags are basically represent the key taxonomy of your site. Is how you basically do on-site navigation. They are built, if you've done your preparatory phase correctly, you should have already what we call a sitemap. So basically, if we go in the handbook and search for sitemap, we should find a sitemap, hopefully. There you go, first. That's cool. But basically, what you have done is to create your sitemap based on your taxonomy. Okay, so you should have already your take action page, your issues, so the categories, and the tags. Okay. This is why you are asked to do this kind of exercise before setting up the site. How you set up the site, long story short, it's fairly straightforward. Once you have defined them, it's pretty straightforward. You can either access them through pages command or posts, whichever you prefer. But you assign categories first and then tags. Okay? So, categories are issues. Okay? Are, let's say, related to issues. Okay? If you remember, when we went through Explore, we basically talk about what's the broader issue, what's the broader, let's say, either problem that we are trying to tackle, or let's say dream we are trying to achieve, or vision we are following, in this case energy or nature, and how all our campaigns or initiatives relate to the broader issue, okay, or relate to multiple issues. Okay, as you have seen before, the Antarctica content, this piece of content related to, let's say, nature as a general one, but also to people, so they can very well relate to two issues and to multiple campaigns. Okay, because not everything is strictly related to one campaign and one issue. We do also a lot of initiatives that are cross-campaigning and cross-initiatives, and so the site must respond to this, let's say, pollinating. Coming back, post categories, this is what you define as being your taxonomy. We have a three-system taxonomy in GPI, but some other sites has adopted a more, let's say, standard approach, really based on, let's say, energy, oceans, and plastics, let's say, depending on the campaigns that are more relevant to them. But more importantly is to the role that categories have is like an overarching role encompassing multiple tags. Yeah. So as tags, the energy category will have obviously a description, what we work on, but you can see that there's different from tags. they don't have a background image, they don't pull out category, they don't pull out content specific. Categories are related to issue pages. Okay, so whereas a tag is a dynamically populated content, issue pages are, let's say, we want to have more power of and freedom to customize them. That's why categories are associated to issue pages. Actually, since we are talking about the energy, let's take the energy issue page now, so that we check it out, and we actually make sure that energy, there you go. So if you hit on energy issue or category, you will be redirected to this page whatsoever, and this is an issue page. Okay, so as you can see, the slug, which is basically the text that composes the URL, is /energy, yeah, and so is the category. This is the category energy, that's the slug. So why am I saying this? Because it's very important to associate issue pages with categories all the time to define a series of functionality that is really not worth to talk about now. But long story short, for each category, so overarching topic, you should have an issue page. And how do you make this connection? Simply creating a default page, default template, assigning them explore as parent. Do you remember when in the settings we saw determine which one is explore and which one is act? This is why, because issue pages are parented by explore and they are associated to the same category that they talk about, so energy. They have only one category, you see. And most important, they have the same slug as the category. This is how you create the connection category issue. That is fundamental to pull out a series of functionalities that are either in the split block or in the navigation. So if I put energy over here, as we just know, you arrive here. So why is determined? It's very important to determine your taxonomy for this reason, so associate issues to category, but also to, let's say, understand how content may relate to each other. Okay. Tags, this energy revolution, tags are pages, okay, and you determine them here. Tags, you assign the tags, and you assign the page. So basically, if you hit on climate, you arrive at the same edit mode that I am here. See, you edit the tag. So you can do it both from the back end and the front end. Okay. The important is to understand that basically when people click on tags, because tags are basically everywhere, they are in take action pages, they are in posts, they are whatever, you know. But when they click on tags, they don't see a page that you have to populate. Apart from the background image and the introduction, all this is dynamically populated according to what you attribute as tags. So, take action pages. Now that we have seen how categories are associated to issue pages, so whenever I'm going to be in a piece of content that has, depending on the tag, there is a dynamically populated pages, but as a category, in this case energy, I am going to be redirected. I'm going to access these issue pages, which is basically describing what's the problem, what's our vision, and basically how we work to tackle this problem or to achieve this vision. You may have seen in different parts of the site these these pieces of content. They are also here in the Explore, but they are mostly in the Act page. You see, like with this, Planet 4 is a platform designed to drive people to take action or to empower campaigners to be creative and just get people to take action with Greenpeace. The most direct way the design team we figured out how to do is to create these dynamic cards. Okay, you can see also them in the responsive version. Okay, these are called take action covers or cards. Okay, what they basically do, they appear everywhere. You use the take action covers block. See, for example, if I go in here, you can see that in Act page, you use these blocks. This block basically dynamically populates the page with take action pages. Okay, so take action pages. If you hit on any of the take action cards, oh, sorry. This is a take action cover block. Okay, as we have seen before, all you need to do is just to tell the take action cards block which tags should populate the block. That's it. You don't decide any image whatsoever and so on. You can either determine where to see 1, 2 rows or all the covers that are associated with these tags, but that's about it. The role of this block is to populate content based on the take action pages you have created. Okay, so this is what happens in the, let's say, admin edit mode, but in the front end, when I go to Act or when I go to any other page that has take action cards, I see these blocks, and if I click on any of them, I access a page called a take action page. In your sitemap, you should have already started to think about, or should have already clear in your mind, what is the take action pages. Basically, take action pages represent your campaign, your project, your ask. Okay, what are we talking about now? This doesn't look very nice because it's a dev environment. Let's pick another one that maybe has like a more funky layout. Let's say this one, plastic free feature. This is a take action page. Okay, it's where people should arrive to do something with Greenpeace. Okay, you learn about the topic, you want to do stuff. Okay, this is a very, let's say, highly customized take action page. But the point is, all this is built obviously with blocks. But as you can see, it has Act as a parent. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to click on that. But basically, if you go in the way take action pages work and have been designed to, let's say, populate all these cards and appear everywhere and appear as first in the search results, all to drive people to action. They have been designed to propose, basically fairly quickly explain what the problem, how you can do something, what's the vision to tackle this problem or to achieve this vision, and give people the option to do something with Greenpeace or by themselves or with their local communities. But the way these pages are built, you see they are built using the default template, which is the one that maximizes the use of the blocks, and by having Act as a parent. Okay? That's all about it. You obviously, as posts, you attribute categories and tags. But the most important part to have a take action page is to attribute them, Act as a parent. So the key difference between issue pages and take action pages is the parenting. This is why in the settings we have to attribute which is Act, which is Explore. So the big point of this navigation is that Act and Explore are not only two buttons, part of the navigation, but really generate a series of functionalities that are really specific to the Planet 4 tool. This is an issue page, and as you can see, it has Explore as a parent page, whereas our Act page has Act. So it's fairly important to understand how these parenting categories and tags, well, not tags really much in this context, but how they interact with each other. Because once you got this, what is called page type relationship, you got most of the site. Then all the rest is just blocks. It's just block of content, and you can just put anything you prefer, your content, your image, whatsoever. But as a web admin, as a web content manager, it's really important that you understand that take action pages must have Act as parent, to have, and issue pages must have Explore parent. That's how you create issue pages, and that's how Act gets populated, or any other one that you choose to gets populated with take action cards. The action card does pull out simply the tags that I attribute to my take action page, which is consumption and oceans. The excerpt and the title. That's it. Take action pages can obviously be used for a multitude of reasons, but if you understand this functionality, you start to really use the tool at its full potential. You see, for example, these take action pages are exactly the same pages, but they have been built in the site with a different purpose. In the first bit, there are more things you can do within our campaign, and in the second part, there is things you can do with Greenpeace, such as donate to us, volunteer, work with us, or sail aboard one of our ships. For example, if you want to see how I am using, for example, take action pages in the handbook, is a totally different way. I'm just dynamically populating block tags. So basically, I am explaining the blocks using take action pages. It just works. It's dynamically populated, and I don't have to do anything other than create take action pages. It just works. Yeah, so using take action pages really is one of the key features of Planet 4 that should be pretty straightforward.